Welcome to another episode of La Ventanita, the Miami Herald Food Podcast. I am your co-host, Carlos Frías, the Miami Herald Food Editor, joined every week by my buddy right over there, Amy Reyes.
Hi. How you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing okay. You know how it's been. This week has been so chock full of like crazy news and
it's been pretty insane for the food world.
For the food world. Yeah. This is the summer. I thought we were supposed to be chill, but I guess not.
No, zero chill. Yeah. But before you start, you need to recognize that I am officially now a food influencer because I got invited to a secret dinner. And now,
once you get invited to a secret burger club, then I think that you've crossed the threshold.
Totally.
Like it's just duck lips and like booty poses from now on. Mm-hmm. That's all.
It's like, hey, look at me with this burger. So cute. Oh, but we had fun. And guess where it was? It was at Smoke and Dough, obviously in Kendall.
In the Kingdom of Kendall?
In the Kingdom of Kendall. And he made a smoked brisket burger. And it had like homemade pickles, and he made homemade potato chips, and I can really appreciate people who make homemade potato chips because I think that is
they're not easy to do.
They're not easy to do well. They were really good.
That's true. They are easy to do, but not easy to do well.
No.
And he served a big chunk of like barbecue along the side of it,
it was like burnt ends, right?
Burnt end, a little burnt end for everybody, a chunk of burnt end.
My husband stole mine, so I only got to take a bite of it. I went up to go to the bathroom, and then I came back and it was gone.
Did you call your attorney immediately?
I did. And you know what I took home from Smoke and Dough? Because it wasn't on the menu, I took home the smoked flan.
Oh yeah, same here. Oh my God, there's nothing like that. The next morning, so I think we went on a Thursday, was it? On a Thursday. And Friday morning we got up, I made like just black coffee and just had that flan. And tell me, wasn't it dessert barbecue in the morning?
Yeah, it was. It has it's got these two competing things happening. The first is the incredible creaminess of it. Like this is a really creamy flan. It's like a custard. It's just delicious. But then it's got this smoky flavor that goes all around your mouth. Incredible. And so two different things happening at once. And with your coffee, dope.
Yeah. No. It's great because it's got it's a perfect flan. Like that's what I learned. Smoking basically is he basically smokes that flan for like 5 hours. So anything that's slow cooking, like the pressure cooker, like slow, low, even pressure, even heat. Like that's what you need for a good flan. Like my brother, it's funny. My brother, he's like, this flan is too. Like I've had him like some of the flans I make at home. He's like, this flan is too creamy. I like the ones with the spongy holes in it. No. Because it's just whatever you grew up with. And it's like if your mom makes a terrible flan, that's what you grew up wanting to. No disrespect to his mom, who's a wonderful lady. May she rest in peace. But
Tony's mom, her flan is a little bit spongy, but it's like spongy like near the caramelized part. But then when you get into the meat of it, and it's the same. You cannot tell my husband that anybody else's flan is better than his mama's.
No, that's a truism. Mom's is always going to be the measuring stick. Oh yeah, but we've had some crazy stuff going on this week, man. So last week, I'm kind of kicking myself because last week I heard one of the owners of Boy a Day mention that he's like, hey, has anybody else had this thing happen where you get a bunch of negative reviews and then you get this extortion email saying, if you want, we put a bunch of these negative reviews on your Google reviews, and if you want us to take them off, send us a gift card through this anonymous email account, this Proton email account for $75. And I kind of looked into it and I was like, I guess it's only happening to them. And then boom, within the last week, that's been happening to restaurants, not just all over Miami, but all over the country. So imagínate.
I think that it's such a disingenuous plot too, because if you're gonna do something like that, why are you only asking for $75? Like it seems like you should aim higher, right?
Well, you know what? I think the genius of it, not that there's anything genius of it, because really it's dumb. You can just ignore it. But the genius of it is that it's an accessible number.
Right.
Maybe if I pay this small sum,
they'll leave me alone.
And then that's how they bring you along, So we wrote about that this week, and people are really every day, after I wrote it, I still kept getting emails from folks like, I'm getting scammed. I'm getting scammed. New Kitchen posted that they had one. Semilla, down in Miami Beach, posted that they have one. Like, can you help us with this? I'm like, I've already written about it. So, get on Google. It's really up to Google to like do the monitoring, but
Yeah, and
money
the
nothing.
thing that it really brings to light is how important these reviews are. If you looked at the reviews on Boya Day, it's just a 1 star with like no comments, no complaints, just one star and like some bogus account,
Right.
And
Or
so
or
it's
or how unimportant they are, right? Like
yeah,
on the other end, like how much like over the years people have come to trust the crowdsourcing nature of it. Like
right.
that's why people, they're like, oh, does the place have 1,000 reviews? And what are the 1,000 people that have gone there said collectively? It's like that idea of like if you put out a jar of jelly beans and you ask people to guess, like if you ask a large enough sample of people, you will eventually get either the exact number or a really really close number. And I guess that it's the whole crowdsourcing idea, so that's why it's taken off. But these are the pitfalls of it. Like you
Right.
don't know who's real
Well,
versus
no,
like say
I think the truth is
an independent food writer say at like a reputable publication. I
I
don't
think
know, Miami
that's what
Herald maybe.
the whole point is that it's important to the owners of the restaurants
Yeah.
because I think that they see the results, like the better they rank, the probably the better they do on Google. And like they take them seriously too because they respond to negative reviews and they're like, oh, what did you do? I mean, what did we do that you didn't like? And they try to reach out to people to understand where they can improve. But like if you got a whole bunch of bunk 1 star reviews just like cluttering up your whole thing,
Yeah,
that's
but
lame.
as I understand it, like if you respond to them, that actually makes them less powerful. In other words, like
Well,
if you manage to
yeah.
respond to each one, it doesn't affect the overall score as much.
Yeah,
So you
that's what
see.
I was looking at on our Ariette had a bunch of them, but they responded to all of them. They were
Yeah,
like, "Oh, well, tell us what we can do to improve your experience," and nothing.
and
The little
silence, of course.
the 1 star bots, they don't respond.
Yeah, we do not respond to your request. You get 1 star.
The other thing I'm excited about this week, Carlos, is the story that you posted yesterday about Thomas Keller coming to Miami, and
TK.
the reason why he's bringing in his what's the name of his restaurant?
All
The
right,
fan.
so Bouchon, which is
Okay,
the one that's got
don't
two
make me
locations.
speak French. It's
No,
called
you don't want to hear me try anything other than that word. That was it. That was my French.
okay. Well, it's coming to the place where me and my husband actually got married. So the space where that restaurant La Palma was it's over by Giralda.
Corner of Giralda and Alhambra, kind of where they meet over there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this old timey building that used to be a hotel back in the 30s. And when I first got to Miami and I got married, it was a restaurant called La Palma. And it was like, it was legit. It was one of those restaurants that has really nice decor, really nice ambiance. And we would only get fish whenever we went there. We would always get the fish dish. They had a really good sea bass. And we had our
Oh,
wedding there.
that's perfect for WGS
Yeah, the
See
white girl stomach loves sea bass.
for sure.
So then we would go there every year afterwards. We would go there for our anniversary until one year we didn't. And then the next year we didn't. And then the next year we didn't. And then before we knew it, that place was closed. And we were like, oh, geez. We let it
Um,
fall by the wayside. But now we can pick it up again. When's it coming again? When's it opening?
they say early 2023, and I talked to the developers, and they said that's probably January or February when they
Okay,
expect
well,
to open it, because they're refurbishing, because that's like an old building, and it used to be like a hotel. It was actually one of the first hotels in all of Coral Gables. And what they did is kind of the same guys that redeveloped Giralda Plaza, like the old Scientology building, they redeveloped this. So they went in there and they took that old building and they cut it up, and it's going to be part retail, part office space, and and his restaurant's going to take up from what I understand, the entire bottom floor. It's like 160
they have like a
seats.
little fountain in the center. That's around where I got married. It was very cute.
Oh, that's
It was
very
very cute.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a clear sign. Like I talked to him yesterday, and he insists. He's like, "No, I look for great properties. I look for places with history." And he came back to like, I wouldn't have done it just to be in Coral Gables or just to be in Miami. But the truth is, now is when everybody's here.
Right.
Like, it makes sense. Like he opened Surf Club in 2017, or he announced it in 2017 and opened it in 2018, and that's like when Miami's really. I mean, it's been building critical mass, and we're way beyond that. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like 11 Michelin star restaurants. in South Florida, and only one of them is one of the out of town. Oh no, I'm sorry, two of them said the out of town ones, the Surf Club and Cote or Cote. And so I mean that's a clear sign that like the ground is fertile, and like that's great if you open up a restaurant in a very nice historic location in Wyoming. It's not going to get the same traffic as in South Florida and in Coral Gables. So clearly
I'll be saving my pennies so I can go every December 20th. That's all I can say.
Oh, okay. Right on. I mean, I'm curious about it. It's going to be a more accessible restaurant. It's not going to be, I mean, like all his restaurants, they're not cheap. There's not a single inexpensive restaurant in the Thomas Keller
define
profile.
accessible, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's put it this way. Surf Club, like I did like the Apollo 13 where he has to turn on the lights in a certain order or the battery drains. I did that, but with money leading up to $200. At the Surf Club, and I was like,
babe, stop drinking.
I know. I was like, we went in with a plan. Like, you and I are going to eat at the Surf Club, and we're going to stay under $200, and this is how we're going to do it, and how we're going to order. And we did it.
These are the exact this is all the equipment we have available to us.
Yes, exactly. I had all the engineers watching me, like, try a different order, and I forgot that Surfside had a tax. Like, I included all the tax, so it was like. I originally had planned like it was going to be $198 and change, and that included 20% tip. We each had a drink. We each had we had a dessert, but because of the Surfside tax, it was like $201, something like that.
Failed. So you failed the mission. You guys are floating in space now.
I know. I would have made a terrible astronaut.
For sure.
Well, listen, I think that we have kept our guests waiting a while long enough. But the truth is, I want to ask him about all this stuff because this, this affects him too, So our guest today is José Mendín. So what I love about José's restaurants is that no two concepts are alike. He opened a gastropub, a sushi chain, a Sunset Harbor Italian restaurant, and a Puerto Rican spot that tied back to his Boricua roots. And so his gift is mixing and matching flavors from outside a traditional cuisine to make something that's unique and uniquely his. I still dream about this duck ravioli, this duck and pumpkin ravioli that he made at the original Pubbelly, which is now Casa Isola. And he had a little controversy with his last restaurant, La Placita, when they painted the building like the Puerto Rican flag. The Boricuas loved it. It brightened up the neighborhood. People took so many selfies with it. But the city ultimately told him that he had to paint it over because it was in a historic district that I guess didn't allow it. And he's opened a new space in its place called Casa Isola. Oh, and he's doing it with one of the best trained pizza chefs in Miami, a guy named Santo Agnello, who worked at Lucali. So let's get into it all and welcome Jose.
Hey, welcome.
How are you, man?
Great.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for joining us, man. I mean, I don't think we've had a chance to really talk about just stuff outside of mural controversies in the last couple years. So I'm glad that we just get to shoot the breeze about other stuff today.
We did that for a while.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so, like I couldn't imagine that like nobody opens a restaurant and thinks like, well, this is the thing I'm gonna deal with from day one until the day that they close. It's like, what a pain.
It was crazy, and everybody knows the story. We did it on purpose. We did it with the permits that they told us we had to have, and then there was some permit missing that nobody told us. So we tried to do it the right way, but then all hell broke loose, And once the flag is painted, then it's hard to take down. So we defended it as much as we could.
Right.
My favorite part of the whole controversy was the resolution that, okay, well, you can keep yours as long as this restaurant down the street has theirs. And if they don't have theirs anymore, then you can't keep yours. That was one of the twists that I found, like, really, it seemed like a really weird abdication of responsibility on the part of...
Yeah, the commission was like, oh, no,
you can do it.
They're doing it.
Once they're gone.
They had this undisclosed agreement with one of the commissioners, and they couldn't release the information of the agreement. So all the other commissioners were like, well, then if you had an agreement with them, we're gonna have to keep the same word for them. Yeah, so, but then they closed in the middle of the pandemic.
I know, it's like they went through all this back and forth, all then based on this secret agreement, which is like the most Miami thing, this secret agreement. And then after they go through all that, finally get to a resolution, the place closed in the pandemic, and then they're like, okay, now you got to paint the thing again.
In the middle of the pandemic.
In the middle of the freaking
trying
pandemic.
to survive.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sorry
ridiculous.
you guys had to go through all that. It's
Well, we'll try to
It
put
was-
that past behind us
Yeah.
and focus on this new venture that we have now.
Well, tell me about this because I'm so curious about this because Lucali really makes one of the best pizzas in America. Easily. Like it just makes a great pizza. And then that started in Brooklyn and then they started in Miami. And your pizza chef now, your partner, he started he was the actual daily working chef.
Yeah.
Pizzaiolo.
So tell me a little bit about Santos. We and Santos met right in the alley. The alley of Pubbelly is the alley of Lucali.
Right.
So
There's an alley that they both share in
Yeah,
Sunset
that
Harbor.
we share.
Right?
So we became good friends back in the day when they opened Lucali, and I was in the back. And when he left Lucali, I had an opportunity to open a pizza food truck in Fort Lauderdale, and I approached him, and we did the Pie Father, which is inside the wharf in Fort Lauderdale. In the pandemic, the wharf closed, so I brought him to work with me at Rivertail in Fort Lauderdale, and we started messing around with pastas and stuff like that. And I had this space, Pubbelly, that I was trying to, sell the lease. So we got together and we put this concept called Casa Isola, and we said let's try it out in our spot. And it's been a local favorite. I mean, we did something really cool in the neighborhood there again.
I think it's funny because when you were first opening it, you were like, "Yeah, I know another Italian place," but you always do something a little different, which I've always loved about your food. Like it's not just like, "Oh, here's an Italian. We're making our own pasta, whatever." No. You always add a little non-traditional flavors or techniques, which I think is cool.
Yeah, we even though we want to make this very Italian American and as traditional as possible, I always add some techniques or some flavors into some dishes that are unusual. And it's been very cool working with him because he's so rustic and has these like flavor bases that are so like from family and generation to generation. And then for me to come in and tell him, well, let's do this and that, sometimes it's a little, conventional, but at the end, we kind of created something, and we have a very good relationship in the kitchen, which is hard sometimes for chefs to see the same ways.
Sure.
Well, give us an example. Like, what's something that he holds sacred that you were like, well, you don't have to do it like that. You could try it like this.
The Caesar salad dressing.
Okay.
He had his Caesar salad dressing, and I had, my version of it that I had done before at Pubbelly and in other places. And instead of using just straight lime juice, I wanted to put yuzu juice into it.
Yeah, okay.
And he's like, no, you're not putting yuzu into my Caesar dressing. You're crazy. And I'm like, let me do mine and try it. And when he tried it, it was like, whoa, man, just really brighten up, the dressing, because it could be a heavy dressing sometimes, but if you put that citrus in there, it could be something that's very refreshing, and we ended up doing a really kick-ass, a Caesar salad dressing. So that's one of the examples that that I can tell you.
That's such a Latino thing. It's like, get out of the way. Mira, vamos a echarle un poco de esto, un poco de lo otro.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Se acabó el limón.
Se acabó el limón, que no hay limón.
In the Dominican Republic, they say a falta de pan, casabe. Because casabe is like the bread made with yuca.
With yuca, yeah. And in Cuba too, my dad loved nothing more than to take just like a big piece of casabe and just drizzle it with olive oil and salt and toast it and just munch on that. Like such an old school, country thing, right? Oye, mate, what is it with you and all these chef bros going out? Like I see all the Instagram picture with you and Mike Beltran and Kush, and you guys look like the cover of Entourage season 6.
Oh yeah, you're the last in our collection. We were collecting the bros.
We're collecting the Entourage bros, and you're the last in the collection.
Well, I can't tell you much what happens in this meetings. But, no, it's awesome. Like
what happens in Entourage stays in Entourage.
2 years ago, we started meeting Matt, myself, Beltran, and Zach the Baker mostly.
Yeah.
And we were coming off the pandemic and basically just like having one dinner a month. We'll get together, talk about our businesses and help each other out and talk about our pains and just basically relax and just have a good time, and then going to support other local businesses. Like we try to do this in restaurants that are local, that and sometimes we haven't, but we try to do as much as we can to support our friends, and that's a lot of fun. You should come. You should come with in one of those nights.
Carlos, you're getting invited to a secret dinner.
I'm getting invited to it. I probably will come back in pieces because I can't get down like them chefs, man. Them chefs.
Well, first one to leave gets a lot of crap.
Gets a lot of crap, bro. A lot of grief. Yeah, no, my liver's not is not fortified yet enough. But maybe if I'm lucky enough to be invited, I'll take 2 Advil in advance and give it a shot. So.
We'll give you a date and you start training.
You got to work up to that, Carlos.
It's true. Oh yeah, speaking of chefs kind of supporting each other, what do you think about this online scammer thing where these scammers
I saw it through Michael's post, and then I saw you on TV yesterday talking about it. It is crazy. Ridiculous. It is.
Has that ever happened to you? Did it happen to any of your venues?
Honestly, like I haven't seen anything, but I'm gonna look into it again. I don't know. It's like you said, like it's exactly like you said, like $75. It is something that people say, yeah, just pay the $75 so they go away. But if 1,000 people do that, around the country, these people are making some money, and it's something that we don't need to be worrying about right now. We're just worrying about the summer in Miami, which is like our time to be dealing with our restaurants and trying to cut costs and trying to make our business work, and trying dealing with some Google review scammer that is trying to just mess with your time and patience.
So do you guys put a lot of stock in those reviews? Like you guys take them seriously, right? Like it's a thing that you guys are concerned about, or is it something that you guys don't think about it that much?
We in all my restaurants, we take very seriously what all the customers say. Like it's very important. It doesn't matter. This person doesn't know much about food, or they do know. For us, the most important thing is the customer leaves happy, and if they had a problem, see what happened, how can we fix it. Sometimes there's unreasonable, things that you go like, whoa, you know what, just let it go. But if you see a bad review, yes, we want to go and ask the person what happened. We're dealing with a lot of personalities in the restaurant. A lot of factors that can trigger a customer to have a bad experience. So we just want to do as much as we can to bring them back and not lose their business, and try to give them the experience that we're really trying to do for them.
Right. Yeah, and I imagine the part of it is just like this idea that you're trying to focus on your business, and you have all this stuff going on the outside that's already making it, it's making it much more difficult to do what.
Yeah, do this thing. It's just plain ridiculous.
So what do you guys do in the summer? Like, speaking of the summer in general, because the summer is Miami. It's interesting because there's always a dip, right? Last summer I think was something we'd never seen, where it was busier than high season because everybody in the country
was excited to get out.
Well, no, everybody was in Miami too. So like the rest of the country was closed. Not the rest, you know what I mean. The rest of the country still had very strong COVID restrictions. Miami did not, and it's like everybody and their abuela was from New York and San Francisco, Chicago was all down here.
Yeah.
What was that?
Chicago,
what was that summer like versus this one? It's crazy.
It's been so different. Last summer was, and I'm normally in Miami. I'd never seen anything like it. To have such a busy summer. Yeah. Like you say, New York took forever. LA, Chicago to open up. Europe. So this summer, everybody just like left town, and it's a regular Miami summer.
It's a regular Miami summer.
I've been cooking in Miami for 24 years. I'm used to it. A lot of my restaurants are very small, so it's good to keep costs. It's easier. A lot of big restaurants have more problems because how do you operate a big restaurant? So with when you have a big dining room and a lot of chairs, that you have to take care of. But it's not easy. You have to think out of the box and doing different things. I've done a lot of dinners, pop-ups, guests. To think about it,
two for one karaoke. Whatever it takes.
I have done karaoke before.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you do Miami Spice at some of your venues? Or?
Yes. Well, actually, Miami Spice helps a lot. Miami Spice helps a lot.
Really?
That's good to hear.
Yes. And we are big believers in Miami Spice and Pubbelly, Miami Spice. Have always done very well. Brings a lot of people in. And it is something that really works, and something that I give credit for the Greater Miami Convention Bureau to create, because it has helped business a lot in the summer to people, getting people out of their houses and going trying a lot of the restaurants. And I think it brings a lot of business to restaurants.
So what's the formula? Like when you do a Miami Spice menu, what is the ideal formula so that you can make money and the customer feels like they got their money's worth?
Well, you want to give them your flavors, you want to give them your experience, but maybe the check average is going to drop a little, but you're bringing assets to your seat. So, you know, you're making more money than what you used to if you didn't have it. So you have to cost out your menus. You want to give them the experience that is, you know, the same as the one you give in the restaurant. And just, you know, I know some chefs believe in it, some chefs don't believe in it, you know, so I try to have fun with it and make it something that works, and it has worked for me in the past, so I still believe in it.
That's cool. Yeah. I know Beltran is not on board with that. I know he's been very vocal about it. He's been vocal about it over the years.
What's his beef? What does he complain about? He doesn't like he doesn't think the price point's appropriate, or what?
I think that's what it is.
I don't know. You have to ask him. I don't want to.
Yeah. We're
I'm trying to get the cheese mad at Carlos.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's what he's told me in the past. I've written that in the past. He just felt like that he couldn't do the kind of food that he wanted to do at that.
Oh, it just didn't work out with like what he was doing.
But he's not alone. I mean, Michael Schwartz has for years not done it. You know, and like that's two of the notable ones. You know, but
he's doing it this year.
I do have one thing to say about Miami Spices, and for the restaurants that decide to do it well. Yes. Don't hide the menus on the regular menu. You know, be proud of it, because if you do it half-assed, then it's not gonna work out for you.
Right.
So if you're gonna do it, offer it, you know, embrace it. If you're gonna do it, fine, you know, but don't hide it. You know, and a lot of places that I worked before, you know, when I was younger, they will like, no, don't give them the Miami Spice menu. You know.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
they're like,
really?
Put it there to get them in, but maybe they'll forget about it.
But they'll forget about it.
Exactly. Don't do that.
That's so
or make them
sneaky.
think it's not available today.
Yeah.
You know, that happened to me. That happened to me once. It was a big group of us too, and I've already explained to Carlos I have this phobia of eating dinner with a big group, just because I don't like.
Yeah, I hate
I don't like the variation and like what people get. So we went to. I think it was when Morton's was open, the one in Brickell. And and they were like, no Miami Spice today. And she had called in advance, and she was like, you know, but they were like, nah, sorry.
You have to train your staff for that not to happen, and you have to always supervise them for that not to happen.
Then I did another Miami Spice, and I'm not going to name names, but it was a very fancy place. Like a little teeny tiny, very fancy place that made everything very espumosa. That's the clue that I'll give you. There was a lot of foam.
I know the place that you were talking about.
And everybody left hungry.
Jose knows the place.
Everybody left hungry.
And then you see that now they're damaging their name because you had a bad experience from it. You know, so if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah,
right, you know?
I think that's the move. Like make it be like a representation of like what you do best, but maybe like a.
Don't give him wagyu beef. Don't give him lobster, but give him something that represents your cuisine and what you do.
It's that thing where like if you're gonna put it on the menu, it should be good, right? Like that thing where you go in Italy and you say, "Oh, what's good?" They say everything is good. You know, like why would I put it on the menu if it's not good? So I feel like that's true. Oh, yeah, Jose, you mentioned you've been cooking for 24 years, but tell me, like I don't know how you came up. Really, I know that you were born on the island. Like, just tell me a little bit about, like, what part of the island you were born in and like, what brought you, like, when you came over and what
I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I went to college in Puerto Rico on a volleyball scholarship.
What? Stop right there.
Yeah.
You went on a volleyball scholarship. That's cool. Was it a big sport on the island?
Yeah, I played volleyball since I was 5 years old. I went to Junior Olympics. You know, I was really good, but I was short. I'm 6'1", and for a sport, it's pretty short. You know, unless I'm like a defender. And I don't know. Went to college and kind of like didn't want to play anymore. I don't know. The guys were too big. There was a very good team, and I kind of dropped out. And I ended up going back to San Juan and learning about culinary school in the States, and kind of like wanted to learn more about the industry. So I came to Miami. I went to Johnson & Wales, started cooking right away, worked at Turnberry,
Yeah.
Back when in the Veranda, where Bourbon Steak is right now.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
called the Veranda. It was more of a private club. And then had the opportunity to open Nobu back in 2001
Right,
in,
right.
in the short club. And that's what kind of my love for Japanese food started, you know, and
So
working up.
when you were a volleyball player, did you think like did you play so much that you're like I can make a career of this? It's funny because all my kids have played. My little one was just at a national tournament, was at a AAU national tournament, and I played. I played into college. Same thing. I'm 6 foot like on a good day. I'm 6 foot on a good day, and I was not a setter. And then I played a little defense, and when I got to college, I was like, "These guys are too big.
Yeah.
These guys are all 6'7", and you're 5'11" and a hiccup, you know."
Well, you
And
just need to grow longer arms. That's what you got to do.
No.
Just make your
or
arms
jump,
longer.
or jump very high.
Or
Yeah,
jump
jump
very
higher.
high.
But there was something that was not back then when I played. That was called the libero. Which is
The
now
libero
position-
wasn't around when we were
wasn't
playing,
around,
right?
and I would have been a great libero. because
I
I'm-
also would have been a good libero. Yeah.
was a
Okay,
very
what's
good,
a libero, boys? What does that
So,
mean?
so a libero is this defensive-only player that comes in at any point in the game. They can switch out with anybody who's in the back row who doesn't hit, who doesn't jump and hit. They just have to be fast and get to the ball to keep it up so that the guys up front can hit. So that
put it in-
position didn't exist when I was coming up.
and they put in the middle of the court to defend the serve, to pass the serve to the setter.
Right.
So because all the big guys are not good defenders because they can't, really crouch that well.
Right.
So the libero comes in and replaces the big guys that can't defend. And they didn't have that when I was, because I would have been a great one. But listen, I was a great career move because I would have never been a professional player. So I think my big first career move was quitting volleyball.
Was there somebody you grew up watching? Like for me, I loved watching St. John Smith because he was a little guy.
Oh yes,
and he could set.
Yeah,
those guys were beasts.
What
The
was
kings of the beach.
Oh man, yeah, they were amazing.
Tim Wilson, I forget the red-headed, the guy with the big red
red
hair, flat top.
With the flat top, yeah.
Those
Oh,
were
you got the
days.
same.
Yeah. We're in the same generation.
Remember that
Mama
movie?
Man.
The movie Side Out.
I do. That was a terrible movie, but it was the only volleyball movie ever. But I was like, look at that! My sport is in a
It's
movie.
like the Top Gun of volleyball movies.
Yes, it's like
you should take your kitchen bros and make a volleyball team, and then you guys can meet up and do volleyball games instead. Or do they call them games?
I would love to see Zach the Baker in a bikini playing volleyball.
una tanguita. Zach con una tanguita. Oh yeah, with a little
Who would be the
that Top
libero?
Gun music. No, Jose. No, who's the smallest
No,
guy?
he's the tallest. Him and Zach would be the taller ones, right?
It's got to be Kush. It's got to be Kush.
Gotta be Kush. Kush will be the multi-purpose player there.
Yeah, the foul mouth, multi-purpose.
That guy's fun.
Óyeme, so when you started cooking, did anybody really cook when you were growing up? Like, was there a person in your life that was
My great grandmother was a cooking teacher.
Oh.
And she did cooking classes for housewives in her home. And I have her books in my house from my mom. My mom cooked very well, but my mom would not let anybody in the kitchen. She hated us helping her or washing dishes for her. Nothing. She would, get out of my way.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
She
funny,
was serious
because
about it.
I didn't learn anything from my mom. But when I moved away to go to college, that's when I started getting recipes from her, and I started cooking at home. That's where I started cooking for my roommate, so that gratifying satisfaction of people just like, oh, I love your food, it was so good. Like that was my first, experience of feeling that somebody really. I love to host. I'm a host guy. I love hospitality, so I just love getting people together and having a good time.
Yeah, see, I think I see that in you big time, like the come into the party kind of guy. Was that you at the dorm? Was that you in the dorm, like cooking?
It wasn't
in the
a
dorm?
dorm. It was like a dorm, like a little apartment in Miami West with no AC. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. There's a kid that I think he's got an online cookie company or something like that, but he started at UM. He started baking cookies in the dorms at UM, and I think either it was this kid or somebody else where they, you had to have like the password to come into the dorm, and you pick it up inside his dorm, and the kid was cooking in the dorm kitchen or whatever. And it's like, I just, that's a guy that likes to hustle and likes the whole cooking thing, which I think is pretty cool.
So what would you make in your dorm room? Like, what were your dishes?
Well,
Well, definitely my rice and beans were like the hit. You know, Puerto Ricans eat like red beans, Cubans eat black beans.
Yep.
So it's like a red bean stew that my mom gave me. That was kind of the first things I ever did. And then like chicken fricassee and stuff to pair with the beans. Always it was like a different thing with avocado salads but definitely the chicken fricassee and the red beans were the first things that I kind of like mastered.
The what's in the red beans? Can you tell us, or do you have to kill us? Is that a mom's
Oh, I
recipe?
mean, it's a traditional, you make a traditional sofrito and recao and, pumpkin, onions, uh, braise them, a lot of cilantro, culantro,
Oh, the best.
a little bit of chicken stock we put, then,
Culantro is a big thing that you see in I think in Puerto Rican and Cuban cooking. Like my
And
dad
Dominican too.
yeah, they love culantro versus cilantro, which I didn't really grow up with until I started writing about food.
it has a deeper, darker flavor that cilantro cannot reach, I think.
Yeah, there is some kind of like a richness to it, like, and you can't eat it like on your own. You can't sprinkle it on food the way you can with cilantro. I think that's why cilantro is so popular.
Yeah,
No, I
Because
think
you can sprinkle
culantro
it on
looks
the-
like a big fat dandelion weed.
Yeah, it looks like, it does look like a weed, but it's
It's
great for
it's not
cooking.
pretty. It's not pretty, that's for sure.
Yeah,
No.
it's not pretty, but you know what? The best food is not pretty a lot of times.
That's true. That's completely true. We try
Did
to
you
make
s-
it pretty. We want to make it, if it's ugly and it tastes good, you know.
Mira, dice Burger Beast, I'm looking at the comments. Burger Beast dice, when is he opening a restaurant in Westchester, Hialeah, or Kendall?
I don't know, man. I guess I haven't had much opportunities there, or anybody asking me to, but we are opening our next Pubbelly Sushi in Pembroke Pines, and
Oh, okay.
That's the
That's-
Kendall of Broward, right?
That's the Kendall
That
of
is the
Broward.
Kendall of Broward.
that's the furthest I've opened one. But we have looked. I mean, we go by demand, I guess.
Well, let me ask you about that because I'm curious about because Pubbelly, what I loved about that restaurant, I mean, I'm sure it's what you loved about it, is that it was like inviting people into your home. That's what it felt like. Every time I went, even before I was writing about food or anything else, you were always in the kitchen. You were back there and la cosa. And Pubbelly Sushi is a different thing where you kind of create an idea and a concept that you feel you can repeat and you start doing a lot of places. Do you, number one, do you feel like that? How do you keep that going so that make it sure that it's consistent? And two, do you ever see yourself opening a restaurant where you're in it again every day like you were in the beginning?
That's a good question because the way that we grew so fast was, it was so, I don't know, it was weird because we had Pubbelly and we had instant success with Pubbelly, and it was such a low investment restaurant, that after like 8 months, we had the two spaces next to us in the corners empty, and that's how Barceloneta was born.
You were an
We
original
opened-
partner in Barcelona.
I was original partner of Ventanita with Manuel and Juliana, which Manuel used to work with us at Pubbelly, and Juliana was the wife of my partner, his ex-wife now. And in the other side, we have Pubbelly Sushi's the corner that was empty. And I'm known for, I ran Sushi Samba for 6 years. I worked for Nobu, and, I had this love for sushi. And we go like, well, we have Pubbelly, let's open Pubbelly Sushi. It was like, okay, so I can imagine it's right next door. But the Pubbelly Sushi concept got a lot of like, it wasn't me behind the kitchen every day. It was like I was in Pubbelly.
Right.
And that one, we could duplicate a lot because it was a different type of concept.
Right.
When I started doing other concepts, I had to leave the kitchen at Pubbelly,
Right.
to take care of all the things that I wanted to do. And I do see myself in a couple of years doing something, and I have a concept in mind that I want to do, and being there behind the line every day.
Ooh.
But now
ooh.
I have to.
I'm
I
very
have
excited
to.
about
I have to do a lot of things in the last couple of years that I have to deal with, and to keep my company, afloat and make it successful, and I try to do as much as I can and the best I can. But yes, there will be another restaurant where I'll be behind the line.
How hard was it for you to like have to close the one concept that was pretty much the thing that launched you into like Miami's culinary radar? Like that must have been
five James Beards, like I mean,
that must have been
nominations
tough.
there. That was a big deal.
It was really tough, and for me to leave that kitchen and had to go put out another fire of a mistake from our company made, was tough for me, and it is what it is. I don't. I've had ups and downs, but I think I'm in a good place right now, and it was just losing your baby is not easy, but it was very happy for me to transform it into Casa Isola, and do this venture with Santo and kind of revive this space and make it into what it is now, and again be there hosting people and showing our hospitality, but in a different setting.
You kind of transformed. I'm sorry. You kind of transformed that whole neighborhood just by being there, right?
Yeah, we definitely did. When we came in, it was very dark. It was the parking lot in the middle where Nayara is and all these places. Our True Love is in the middle. That parking space was not there. It was an empty lot with a green fence where all the tow trucks used to put their cars. It was very dark. It was Birdie Lounge, and there was a bunch of restaurants that have failed around. And in the other corner, you had a B&B Burger. I don't know if you guys remember B&B.
I remember that, and I remember, what was it, Allen? What was the restaurant that was on that?
Joe Allen.
Joe Allen was there for a long time, and that closed some years back.
So,
but like very old timey restaurant and like a burger place, and then but nothing really like inventive, nothing really like exciting. And then you guys created like this I would call it like almost like a stock portfolio. Like, we have sushi over here, we have, a gastro bar here, we have Spanish tapas, and you guys, if I'm not mistaken, were like part of like Machialina or something at the beginning.
Yeah, we opened Machialina.
Yes.
We opened Machialina together, and then we broke up. They took the brand, and they've done an amazing job with it. But we started together. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it was like this portfolio of different kinds of food, which I think goes in line with what you still do now. And
yeah, I love cooking. I love partnerships. Like I said, I love being around people. I love hosting people, and I love making dishes that are very flavorful. And it doesn't matter what it is, But yes, I have my favorite will be Japanese and kind of European. Foods,
Oh, I'm very curious about what the next thing is, because we've seen Pubbelly steak, which was great, which was only around for like not maybe a year.
Yeah, Pubbelly steak it lasted like a year and a half, and then we ended up moving to the Langford.
Lechon, or no, a different place was Lechon. It was like Lechon, but with L apostrophe.
Yeah, Lechon was in the Cabana Hilton.
Yeah,
they sold the hotel, and they wanted to go another route, more of a casual American place.
Yeah, they put some boring steakhouse or whatever in there. Yeah. But that was always interesting.
Yeah, listen, we started very young, and it's been awesome to see us grow, and we make a lot of mistakes, and we have a lot of success. We made a lot of mistakes, but it's good that because you learn and you keep doing what you love, and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes again.
Well, getting back to what Burger Beast said, I think a Puerto Rican place in Kendall would be a hit.
Are they gonna let me play music there? Because I have still a million fines to pay for La Placita.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, Kendall will let you do whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll find you the right plaza.
I just couldn't have a Puerto Rican restaurant without playing music, and every time I put the music on, the police will come. I mean, the police became part of our customers. They gave us so many fines that they
let me
will
go
sit
pick
down
up some
and have-
mofongo and tell them to turn the music down.
They're like, we'll just eat the fines, basically.
Pass me some croquetas and turn the music down.
I cannot make this up. This is actually happened. It's every night.
They know good food. I mean, they're there. They might as well eat.
And your Puerto Rican concept, and I thought that people just didn't get this early, even to the end. Like, you weren't just gonna do un mofongo and un arroz con gandule, like you weren't gonna do the traditional thing. You were gonna do the Jose thing, where you put the guy that puts yuzu in Caesar salad, making his Puerto Rican food. So like Puerto Rican food, but you also know all these other flavors, and I think that
Yeah, that didn't work out at the beginning. Puerto Ricans are very
They didn't like that.
traditional with their food,
Yeah.
and but the food was great. I mean, there were still people coming in asking for some of the dishes.
They're like, where is it? What happened to
And I'm
it?
like, hey, people, I mean, we're serving now pizzas and pastas. I'm sorry, but
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in Puerto Rico, they literally have like destinations where you go for specific stuff, like if you want to they have like La Ruta del Lechón, and then they got Naranjito, and they got, they got Piñones. They've got places where you go and you get the thing that, that's the thing over there to get, the fritura or the lechon or
whenever you guys go, let me know. I'll give you my list.
Do you miss that like Miami? I mean, it's so close, and yet the biggest Puerto Rican population obviously is in Orlando. But that we really don't have a lot of options for really great Puerto Rican food. I'm not saying we don't have any, but I'm saying we don't have a lot. Like I could think of one or two places that get all the business. They get all the business.
Yeah, basically, they get all the business.
Open a Puerto Rican restaurant, have it be decent, and you'll get all the business. Basically,
There's very few options. Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah. So are you gonna do that again?
Well,
And Kendall?
we don't have it right now in the plans, but we do have the brand, we have the concept, and we know that when the right place opens up, like it comes up to us, we'll do it. It could be here, it could be Orlando, it could be.
Okay, so there's that plaza where Smoke and Dough is at, right? They have a Dollar Tree. I think that Dollar Tree is gonna close, and when that Dollar Tree closes, I want you to get in there right away because there's nobody in the front, and it's on Candle, right on Candle Drive. No, it's right on what's the street?
Coral Way, isn't it? Or Bird?
No, it's Bird. It's on Bird.
It's on Bird.
Or wait, is it on Coral Way? Anyway, it's over there and nobody's around, and you can play your music as loud as you want.
Okay. Well, I'll come take a look at it.
Oye, Jose, listen, before we let you go, we have to play our game. We make you play Kiss, Marry, Kill, but with food. You know that? We'll give you 3 things. You got to kiss one. Another one's one that you want to have a fling with. You got to pick one to marry, and then you got to cut one out. So we're going to give you 3 foods. You want to play some Kiss, Marry, Kill with us?
I never heard this game before, so wait, I have to kiss one?
Well, it's generally done with people.
It's generally done with people, Kiss, Marry, Kill, and it's not
kissing,
but we're a family newspaper and podcast, and we
trying to keep it PG up in here.
We're trying to keep it PG up in here, so yeah. So Amy, you want to handle Kiss, Marry, Kill?
Okay, so we're gonna do the Piñones Kiss, Marry, Kill. It's not kiss, Marry, Kill. Alcapurrias, bacalaitos, and piononos. Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Oh, yeah, look at the look on his face. He's like immediately sweating.
It's hard because it's one of my 3 favorite things that I like. But if I had to kiss one, it would be bacalaito.
All right, well, tell us, what do you like about the bacalaito? Like, what is a perfect bacalaito for you?
A perfect bacalaito has to be a big one, and it has to have that bacalao flavor inside, and it has to be crispy outside, but it has to be a little gummy in the inside. That dough has to be a little gummy. Okay.
Yes.
And it's my mom's favorite fritura. So.
Oh wow.
I can, the first thing that we go in Puerto Rico, and she has to get warm, when we go to the beach. You have to marry one.
Yes.
Alcapurria, because that's my favorite. Fritura is alcapurria, and I'm in love with that thing.
And what is your favorite one? Like, is there one from a place that you love to get, or do you have to make your own? Or
en Piñones, en el Boricua, el kiosco El Boricua.
El kiosco Boricua.
The thing about Piñones is don't stop in the first one.
Right, you gotta keep going.
Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And El Boricua is one of the last ones. And
don't get distracted.
Yeah, and everything's made fresh. They're not like really hanging on top of the caldero with the fry oil. And they fry everything with manteca, manteca lard,
Yeah, for sure.
So they put all the thing on top when they're done. Now they make it fresh, so you have to wait a little bit.
Oh, man,
and I can kill the pionono because I can't eat one of those right now. It's too fattening. It's too much. You got to fry plantain stuffed with meat, then dip in a batter and fry it again. So
That's a lot of frying.
That is
that's
a lot of frying.
fun. But
And
it
then
is
you
delicious
take your
though.
It is delicious.
yeah,
Yeah.
like most of that anything things that are salty and greasy and hot are delicious and also terrible for us. Unfortunately. Well, Jose, you have been a prince to make so much
thank
time
you
for
for
us
having
to
me.
talking with us, and it's always great to catch up with you and see what you have going on next. Patio Isola, Patio Isola in Mimo looks wonderful. The space looks beautiful. We wrote a story about it. You can find it online and find out all about Jose's next adventure.
We'll be waiting for you guys over there.
All right, man. We'll be there. Take care,
Thank
buddy.
you very much for having me.
Bye.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
Our
coming.
pleasure, bud.
Thank you.
Oh man,
Just-
I need
just-
some. I need
just-
some
yes.
fritura now.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. Just hearing him, the way that he just described each of those foods and the glimmer in his eyes, like
The bacalaito, yeah, he
Oh,
really
man.
knows what he's looking for
like
in a
he's
bacalaito.
like just saying it, like he's like, I could go for one right now. Like you can see him, you can see the wheels turning where he's like, man, with the gumminess of the dough as you get towards the center. That's the
I'm so
best.
glad Burger Beast mentioned that. He really does need to open a Puerto Rican place in Miami, like specifically in Kendall. I'll go to Westchester. I would even drive to Hialeah for it.
Yeah, Hialeah. Let me tell you, I think Hialeah is like fertile ground for a lot of things. Like I feel like
Yeah, maybe if he went into like one of those areas where it's like kind of warehousey,
yeah,
you know,
they're
where there's
trying
not
to-
a lot of houses.
Yeah, over by where Kush redid the Stevens Deli, and where like Avra Jane is redoing that big party area. It's like that
Right.
big music venue, which is kind of still
What's
like
it
a
called
hole in the
again?
ground.
It's called Hialeah.
I don't know what it's
Oh,
called.
I forgot the name already. Anyway,
Yeah, I forgot it also. But like that area, I mean, you know, Hialeah
Factory
is just
Town.
waiting.
That's what it's
Factory
called.
Town. Yeah, Hialeah is just waiting, man. It really is just waiting for somebody to like take another gamble on it.
it's
So
gonna blow up. It's gonna
I
blow
know.
up like Detroit.
yeah. Amy, does this feel like a show?
Feels like a show.
All
Let me go find something fried to eat now.
Yeah, no. I think that I think our lunch plans are all ruined now. I don't-
Yeah.
like I can't eat my yogurt and granola now after hearing Jose describe that food. But
No, too basic. We need
I'm
some
gonna-
fritura up in here.
yeah, I'm gonna go rummage through the kitchen, see what I find.
All right.
Peace out.
Bye bye.